This is how it all began. Which, of course, leads to nonsense like this. A few months ago, I reunited with my childhood friend Eddie Brock. What is that?
It's our inheritance.
Eddie's dad and my dad worked together before they died.
We believe the suit may be the final step. Finally, a cure for cancer. People are dying all over the world. And all I want to do is try to help them. But because I signed the wrong paper for the wrong person, I can't.
They had taken the suit away from Dad, and I was going to take it back. I knew I could finish what he started. I felt good. Great. More than myself. It didn't last.
What's happening to me? Get this off of me!
I don't know what the suit had become or what it had done to me, but I have super spider powers and I couldn't control it, so I don't think anyone could ever hope to. But when Eddie found out what I had done, who I really was, well, he was pretty angry.
Our fathers died to create me, and now you will too.
Oh hey, welcome to the game already. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground for just 2 minutes. The beginning of this game is incredibly rapid fire, and it makes sure not to waste any time in more ways than one. For example, this first fight, it's here to teach you how to dodge, and if you don't know how to dodge by the end of this fight, this game will not have any pity on you. Thankfully for us, dodging is as simple as pressing the jump button whenever that little spider sense starts flashing above our head. The longer we hold in the jump button, the higher we jump, but when he starts attacking, we only really need to jump over the first attack and we're good. He usually does 2 attacks, so that really just leaves the issue of when it's best to counterattack, because, well, we don't have stretchy tentacles like Venom does. And we could keep dodging all day, but that wouldn't get us anywhere, so thankfully, we have a really good 2-hit combo that we can do from the air where we dive toward Venom twice. It actually deals pretty decent damage, and the only thing we have to worry about is accidentally diving into the second hit of his combo. So now Venom has a new move where he will try to eat us, but we can break out of that at any time just by rapidly tapping the L2 and R2 buttons. Aside from that, our strategy for this fight is exactly the same as the last one. We're going to use our mid-air dive at him. And try not to run into the second hit of his combo.
Lie on the ground with your hands over your head. Both of you! On the ground now! The hell is that?
I need it!
It's not done.
Give it back.
It's really not done.
I can't go swinging around in my nerd clothes.
I just have to finish stitching up a hole in the butt, and then I'll give it back to you.
I can explain the hole in the butt, by the way.
Please don't. Come by the place in about half an hour, and I'll have it ready for you.
All right. I'm gonna run by home and grab my web shooters. I've been sitting on my tush all day. Time for a little workout.
As I said, the beginning of this game is very rapid fire, and hey, it's my favorite movement controls in any of the open world Spider-Man games. Everything about the movement in this game feels really good. You don't have the charge jump anymore, but you're even more agile in the air than you were in Spider-Man 2. If you ever wanted to play a game where it felt like it was reading your mind with where you wanted to land next, then this is the Spider-Man game for you.
It's me, the amazing jumping man. Huh. The spectacular leaping dude. Huh. It's the sensational talking to myself.
Police have attempted to apprehend the man, identified as 33-year-old Herman Schultz. In a daring daylight bank robbery attempt, Schultz...
Web zipping is great for low buildings like these.
This game is a lot more immediately honest about the utility of the web zipping. Yeah, it's useful for low buildings where you can't swing yet. That being said, the buildings don't exactly have to be very high for you to swing from them, and swinging as a whole is way easier in this game than it was in Spider-Man 2. The basic idea behind the swinging is definitely the same, but it's a lot easier to control, and you feel way less loose. The boosting, the swinging from anchor points, it's all here, it's just way easier to control. So if you ever wanted to play a game where it felt like it was reading your mind with where you wanted to swing next, this is the Spider-Man game for you. It's also way easier to correct your mistakes in this one through web zipping or other means, simply because it controls so much more fluidly.
Ta-da!
You scared me.
You done with my butt, hole yet? There's an idiot causing trouble a few blocks from here. I need to skedaddle.
Out of the way, Piglet! All of you, just back off!
I never knew your name was Herman.
Oh no, it's you!
Well, you are kind of in my neighborhood, Herman.
First thing we want to do against the Shocker is back away so that way we have plenty of room to use our webbing.
Easy on you this time.
Now this is the tutorial for the webbing, but we will get another tutorial for the webbing because it has multiple functions. Still, this is just telling us how to shoot it.
Good old predictable Herman. See you around, pal.
Please, no. I got kids.
I got a dog. You've got a dog. That's a Homer.
I envy you guys. You're happy just being walking cliches. Seriously, good for you. But come on, guys, leave the lady alone.
Oh hey cool, it's time to fight some bad dudes, but first we're gonna web them up because it makes it impossible for them to hit us back, and we can yank them toward us while they're webbed up to hit them. But after we knock them down, we have to web them up anyway, so it's good to get that out of the way early. Otherwise they'll get back up.
All done here. You okay?
Ugh, get away from me, you freak.
It's that kind of quality human interaction that makes it all worthwhile.
You can perform many of the same web attacks that you could in Spider-Man 2 and some new ones, but like everything else in this game, they're a lot easier to perform and a lot more fluid. So if you wanted to play a game where it felt like the web attacks were reading your mind, this is the Spider-Man game for you.
I need to get home.
So with all of the basic game mechanics out of the way in what, just under 10 minutes, it's now time for the game to introduce us to the open world shenaniganry. And of course, to introduce us to the open world shenaniganry, it has to introduce us to open world missions. That yellow beacon in the distance descending from the comic book sky means that our first race mission is upon us, and it is a very easy race mission, but it is meant to introduce you to all race missions, so you can't really blame it for that.
Yo, 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 Spidey!
Johnny Storm of the world-famous Fantastic Four. What on earth are you doing in Queens?
What, I can't be in Queens?
I have to be here, but you? Go save the world.
Oh, I got a better idea. What do you say, quick race around Queens?
What is this? You think just because you can fly in a streak of fire, oh, you can beat me?
I do believe that's what I'm saying.
Then I've got 2 words for you. Bring it on.
Ready, set, go!
This race is really easy, as I already said, you barely have to pay attention, but it does give us an opportunity to talk about something else, the game's graphical style. I think the graphical style was an excellent choice. As many PS2 games as I play, I can admit the console did not produce the most wonderful looking graphics. So going with an art style that complemented the lack of detail is a really good decision. The game does have a whole lot of pop-in, just like Spider-Man 2, but unlike Spider-Man 2, you don't notice it as much because the graphics are already so flat. I am also 200% behind those cutscenes because they're really stylish, and I imagine the way they're framed cuts down on a lot of loading and hardware issues because you don't need to show all that much. Also, the darker color of Spidey's red suit in this game makes my game capture disagree much less with the way Spidey looks. Now, I somehow doubt they had that one in mind when they were making the game, but it's still nice. I also appreciate the giant red balls that are really hard to not see. They even have a blue glow around them, and the hit detection on them is incredibly lenient. Everything about this game is just so much easier to do. Back to the gameplay though, you may think we're swinging through the city pretty fast, but just like Spider-Man 2, there are swinging upgrades, so this will get even more ridiculous, but it will get ridiculous in a way that's still very easy to control. You know, I don't know a whole damn lot about Ultimate Spider-Man, but I did read the very first collected book. And I remember there being a lot more edge than this. And I liked the edge. I'm a big fan of edgy. There's just not a whole lot of that yet.
Oh, man! You're faster than I thought.
Now I own you!
Yeah, whatever. You ever want to race again, look me up. I'm usually hanging out by the Baxter building.
Now that we know how the races work, it's time for the game to teach us how to proceed through the chapters, which is very similar to Spider-Man 2 with one key difference. Instead of collecting hero points, the game just gives us a number of each thing we need to do. So we need 1 token and 1 city event completed. Now this does offer a lot less freedom than in Spider-Man 2 where you could just grind for hero points by doing the same thing over and over. But I also like being told exactly what my objectives are in video games, so I am okay with that change. Either way, now we need to swing around until a city event triggers, and the city event could be several things. The first time I played this, it was a mugging. The possibilities are endless, except they're not endless, there are a limited number of things to do, which is probably why they force you to do multiple each time. I mean, it's true a complaint in Spider-Man 2 was that there wasn't enough stuff to do and there was too much repetition. I'm going to have to disagree. There was plenty of stuff to do. That wasn't the problem. The problem is that some of it wasn't very interesting. This lady's dying. I don't know why she's dying. It looks like she just crashed her bike. Now, unlike in Spider-Man 2, I don't believe your movement is really restricted while you're swinging injured people. Like all things in the game, that does make it a little bit easier, but I don't have any complaints about that. The thing about Treyarch's Spider-Man the movie game and Spider-Man 2 is that even though Spider-Man 2 is less obtuse, there were still some obtuse things about it. And the less obtuse your game gets, the better an audience it reaches. And there's a steady pattern of Spider-Man games being made by Treyarch getting less and less obtuse mechanics-wise as they go on. And this is also the most polished of all of Treyarch's Spider-Man games, so that's why I have no issue recommending this one to anybody. As much as I love the original Spider-Man movie game, you try and recommend that to someone playing games today, and they'll think you're stupid or crazy, and that the game is too hard and ridiculous, and they don't understand any of it. But you don't have to rack your brain or feel like you're breaking the game this time. That's not something you have to do. You might wonder why the hell we're just jumping around, and it's because I left a token behind that we need to pick up in order to advance the chapter. And I look right here and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to pick up the token right on top of the school building. Luckily for me, I don't have to run around and look for it, because the school building is literally right in front of us. So after we pick up this token, we will advance the chapter, but that will not be the end of the video.
It's Toombs. No, listen. Listen to me. I'm in Queens and listen. I saw the suit. You heard me? Yes. The suit.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how many days passed. I don't even know how I'm still alive. If you could call this alive.
So now it is time to play as Venom, and as you might have guessed, Venom moves and controls differently from Spidey. Instead of web swinging, we have this enormous Hulk-like leap, and it's mostly vertical, but if we get enough speed going, we can launch ourselves pretty far. We also have two forms of attack. We can claw enemies, or we can attack them with our tentacles. And we're mostly going to be attacking them with our tentacles, because that kills a lot of them at the same time. We can also press the L2 button to feed on innocence, which refills our life. But unfortunately, they don't go all the way through with it, and the child doesn't die. But hey, at least we maimed a child. How many mainstream video games can you say that about, that you've maimed a child in one of those? I really love the way we climb buildings as Venom. It sounds so thunderous and threatening. By the way, another thing about our tentacles is that they can reach through any solid object, so you don't need to worry about standing in the right spot. You just mash away on that triangle button until everybody dies. The combo is also way longer than just 2 hits like it was when we were fighting Venom, so we can really screw people up depending on where we aim at. There's only 3 more enemies left though, and then we get a boss fight.
Nice mess. You don't say.
So now it's time to fight Wolverine, and Wolverine can be a little difficult if you don't remember how to dodge. Do you remember how to dodge? You do it by jumping. If you remember how to dodge, then this shouldn't be so bad. The strategy I employ to defeat Wolverine is pretty simple. Jump away from him, hit him with the tentacles from a distance, and then jump away from him again. Whenever he leaps towards you, it's time to get away, because facing him in close-range combat will get you pretty hurt. There are some times where he will stand still long enough for you to unleash a full combo, but most of the time you only want to hit him 1 or twice and then jump. He moves pretty fast himself. There's also something a little weird about this particular fight. The frame rate, as you might have noticed, is really goofed up, and I don't know what's wrong with that. And for those of you with eagle eyes, you might have noticed that our health bar is steadily decreasing even though Wolverine has not hit us yet. And this is because our health slowly decreases while we play as Venom unless we feed on someone. And we could definitely start feeding on people around here. There's no shortage of other people in the bar that we could grab, but that's not really necessary. This is a pretty simple fight. It's almost exactly as simple as the fight with Spidey and Venom back at the beginning of the game, but I like the simplicity. And you know, if you do really feel like you just want a button mash, you can totally do that. There are people around for you to heal yourself with. Welcome to the second half of the Wolverine fight, and it's almost identical to the first half. I think Wolverine is a bit more aggressive this time. He seems to jump at you a lot more. But I don't know if this is intentional, or if it's just his AI suddenly deciding to do so. But I'm gonna say it's probably intentional. Anyway, yeah, we just do the same thing as we did last time.